Now that's a bass, huh? That's a slab crappie, man. Just doesn't get any better. The smallmouth here in Champlain is phenomenal. Hey, what do you say, guys? Welcome to another weekend roundup. It's a muggy Sunday night. Hey, everyone, I'm George, your Poker Outdoors guy, fellow angler, host for the show. Hope you guys are doing good, enjoying a great Father's Day. We got a pretty good show lined up for today. I think it's a good friend of ours joining. Obviously, Josh is not in the studio today, but Josh is joining us from Texas.
Hello.
How you doing there, Josh?
Oh, it's real good.
How's things down there, buddy? Yeah, good to see you too.
Things are good down here. Things are hot down here, as you can imagine. You know.
Yeah, it's finally gotten hot up here. I say it's been in the 80s, and the humidity's way up here. So I don't know if you headed out of town just at the right time or not, but it's hope the fishing's good down there as well.
Hope so too. Haven't had a chance to do it yet. Only just got back.
Yeah. Hey, look, before we get started, guys, I got to thank a few folks here. I got to thank Finseeker River Guide Service. You know, Tim Keebler's got all the action. He's the premier guide on the Delaware River. Be sure you guys book your trip with him. You want shad, largemouth, smallmouth, stripers, muskie, walleye. He does it all 7 days a week. Be sure you book your trip now, 215-262-4811. Give Tim Keebler a call. Also, Tony Majot products. You know, Tony's the guy, if you want to get into those stripers, he's got all the right equipment. He's got the bunker spoons, the mojos, the easy out rodders, the custom rods, everything you need to get into that 50-pound club. Be sure you check out TonyMajotProducts.com and get set up for those big old stripers. Also, the Fisherman magazine. You know, every Thursday, Jim Hutchinson gives you the latest on what's happening for the weekend ahead. All the information you need to get on those fish. The June edition is out, so be sure you pick that up. Check out thefisherman.com. Get yourself a subscription there. $29.95 gets you 38 issues, all the tips, tactics, and tackle you need to be a better fisherman. So, yeah, what do you think, Josh? Let me get you back up here. So our show tonight, we're talking a little bit about soft plastics. And I know that's a favorite technique of yours and mine as well. So the plan today was we planned on having Ant Glascoe live, but unfortunately with some of the COVID stuff, the time difference between here and the UK, he was not able to schedule some time because it's close to midnight out in his time, and he has to get up for a very aggressive work schedule early in the morning. But we did spend the morning with him doing some recording. Now, I know you're big into soft plastics too, Josh. I know that's one of your favorite presentations.
Definitely.
But let's take a quick listen to Ant Glascoe and see what his tips are so we can talk about soft plastics, and we'll pick up the conversation after, okay?
Let's do it.
Hello everyone, Ant Glascoe Jr. here, speaking all the way from the UK, Manchester. Happy Father's Day. It's Father's Day here in the UK at the moment. So happy Father's Day to all them dads out there. So I just thought I'd have my little son on as my little guest. So I hope you don't mind. I've had to bribe him with plenty of crisps, or chips as you guys say, just to keep him sat there. So listen, I'm going to ramble on just a little bit about some tactics that I use for perch or jumbo perch. Same tactics you guys use for largemouth bass, smallmouth bass and crappies in the States. Nothing new. So we've got these tactics from you guys. One of my favourite tactics for perch has to be just a simple jig head mounted onto whatever shad has been working at the time. There's loads on the market. So that's one of my favourite ones at the moment. It's made by Westin. I'm not too sure on the name. A little curl tail. You can get these with paddle tails as well. Simple cast, retrieve, jig it back. Not alright for fishing in structure, but not really designed for structure work. We'll get onto that a little later. Again, cast retrieve or vertical jigging from a boat, great tactic, deadly. Some of you might know that I'm really sort of, one of my favourite methods is drop shot fishing. Again, we got this off you guys. I've been using it in the UK over 20 odd years. Just simple polymer knot. That's a Kamakatsu worm hook, I think it's called. Again, drop shot weight. And I see a lot of guys, depending on where they're fishing, I see a lot of guys burying the hook. For me personally, there's no need to. I like to have the hook exposed like so. Again, drop shot fishing, keeping that bait, the idea is keeping that bait in the kill zone up against structures. It's just a deadly method. Again, many big perch have fell for this for me over the years. Some near records as well. So yeah, there's plenty of ways of hooking them. You can also hook these guys weedless. You can bury the hook in there. You can, there's loads of different ways. Another tactic, this is basically a jig head that's designed for fishing weedless, so you can fish the hook sort of buried into the lure, depending on which lures that you get for this tactic. Hiya, mate. So a lot of these lures are designed that they have a groove in the top, so you can. That's basically the hook, and you can bury that into the soft bait and cast that again. Cast, retrieve, vertical jig it, and yeah, it's a killer method. Another tactic as well with these Mustad Powerlock Plus spring keeper hooks. They're a weighted hook. Again, it's an idea from the States for the largemouth bass, but I like to use these for pike, northern pike, casting in amongst the lily pads. That's weighted as well, so you can adjust the different flutters of this lure, and yeah, another great tactic. And then there's another one there, these creature baits. Notice the hook sort of, notice the groove in some of these baits as well. I'm not a huge fan of creature baits. I just use them to cause a commotion on lily pads. That could imitate anything. It could imitate a small duckling on the surface. I personally don't think the pike care, as long as there's a bit of movement there. It could imitate a rat, a mouse, just as long as you're causing vibrations. It doesn't have to look. It don't have to look like a crawfish or a crayfish, in my opinion, for pike. I think they're that stupid, they'll eat anything. But yeah, so they're just some tactics that I use. Again, cast, retrieve, and yeah, very simple. So there you go. That's some of my top big perch rigs, and with a bonus pike tactic there thrown in. Okay. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me and Harrison especially while he sits there and eats crisps. Thanks for watching. There's nothing new that I'm telling you guys, because I'll give it. You guys have taught us everything about fishing soft baits. It all started there, in my opinion, fishing for tournaments with largemouth bass, and we've adopted some of them tactics for our fish over in the UK and Europe. So on the behalf of me and Harrison here, thank you for that. And happy Father's Day. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry it was all pretty brief, and stay safe, and I hope to see you all very soon.
Well, that was pretty good. I know Ant really wanted to be here. It just wasn't able to fit into his schedule. But, Ant's going to be watching this when he gets up tomorrow, and he's going to look through. So if you guys have any questions, be sure you pass them along. I'm sure he's going to get back to you guys. He's a great fountain of knowledge for everything. He's probably one of the premier predator hunters over there in the UK. And he really gets hooked onto those jumbo perch. I can't imagine catching perch that size over here. How about you, Josh?
Oh, I wish. I can only dream of it. That's such. I mean, I don't want to misquote sizes here, but 6-7 pound perch are possible. That's wild. It's unheard of.
It is crazy, and it's Ant keeps saying, you guys got to come over and do a little fishing here in the UK, and maybe one day that'll happen. I know he wants to get over here and get on these stripers. He was talking this weekend about maybe get out and get on a couple of them. I'm sure we'd have some real fun with him on that.
Oh yeah, that would be real good. Get him on some stripers, and he can get us on some big perch and maybe some of those crazy Wells catfish they got there too.
Oh, there you go. That's a fair trade, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we got a bunch of guys joining us. Let's see. Who do we got here? We got Derek Keller. How you doing, Derek? Good to see you. He's that big musky guy. Samantha, hello there. And Jay Batcha. Hey, Jay, how you doing? Joining us on Facebook this week, huh? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you guys, I know that was a short clip with Ant. We were planning on doing the whole show live, but it just didn't work out. Again, any questions you guys have for him, please leave them in the comments. We'll go through and try to get you guys answers or anything you guys need with Ant. And he's a big friend of Poker Outdoors, guys. He'll be back on the show later, hopefully live.
Just a great guy in general too. Every time I've talked to him, just so nice.
It's incredible, you know, and he's such a famous fisherman over in the UK. He fishes in Paris. Yeah, Fisherman TV he's associated with. I mean, he's with all the big companies, sponsored by Lowrance. So he's just a great fisherman, very humble, and always willing to help somebody else out. So that's really good.
It's great.
You know, one of the things that reminded me of, Josh, is, you know, I think it was 2 years ago, we were out fishing with a couple guys from Rutten River Pursuits. Actually, it was my son, Jeremy. Myself went out, and we were on Catfish's boat, and Stevie Miser joined us too. And we spent the morning just crushing largemouth bass on topwater. You know, Catfish loves throwing those little spooks, and especially the whopper ploppers. Well, he had us on some monster largemouth. I mean, we must have caught 3, 4, 5, easily 5.5 pounders.
I remember hearing about that day.
That was just incredible. And apparently that's the lake he fishes. It's, I'll call it private. You have to own property in the area to get on it, but it's a huge lake. And I'll tell you, they must, whatever they're doing for fish management there, they're doing it right. Because after we were done going out for these largemouth, he said, well, let's go over and get some crappie. And I'll tell you, I have never seen schools of crappie that thick where I could have walked back to the dock. The schools were, they were stacked up so much. But the technique we were using was kind of similar with the soft plastics. I want to give you a little clip of what Catfish told us, how we were rigging up those. Why don't you take a look?
So we fished all morning for bass, pitch, and docks with soft plastics and topwater, and we had a really good morning. We decided to come over here in like 12 feet of water, and there's a bunch of schools of crappies. And so ultimately what we're doing is just throwing soft plastic paddle tails. And sometimes they're a little too big, so if you do that, the crappies like to chase that little paddle tail. And once you get into the circle of them, a little cloud of them, then well, you really can't go back. And that's what's working for us on crappies this morning. If you don't get it hung up in the rocks and you actually get it back to the boat, you should bring a crappie with you. But there's a lot of rocks in here, a lot of snags, but that's why the fish are here.
And Josh, that was so true. I mean, I'll tell you what, I bet you I went through half of Catfish's tackle box with baits there, because you do get hung up at the rocks. But he's true.
Oh,
and if you can get it back to the boat, we were just loading up on some really nice crappie. But again, that's that soft plastic bite. You know, you rig them up. And one of the things I wanted to mention, if you've seen them, since they were like short strike them a lot of time, you've seen him bite off or take off
the head. Yeah,
to make that a little bit shorter presentation so you can get that hook in there. So if you're getting a lot of hits, but you're just not getting them on the boat and they're pulling the bait off of your jig head, take another, inch or so off the front of that bait. Instead of a 3.5 or 4 incher, maybe you bring it down to a 2.5 or 3, but you got that paddle tail working for you. And I think it'll give you a little bit more hookups on that as well. Hey, we got a few guys joining us here. Rachel Hummel, happy Father's Day. Thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate that. Jay Batcha says, how's the striper bite on Beltsville? Josh, I'm going to let you answer that because I've seen you've been killing them lately.
Yeah, it's been really good. A lot of the smaller fish, say 18 to 24 inches, they're still on the shoreline busting bait. At this point, I was there a few days ago, but the water temperature was about 75, and that thermocline is starting to set up good now, and those bigger fish are sitting under 25 feet pretty consistently. So you can get a lot of action close to shore, but if you want bigger fish, they're out deep now. Right.
And that's a pretty much a typical summertime setup that we use. I like that trolling bite. I know you're more of a bait guy, but that's how I fish it. I go out there, you're looking for that water separation between the warm water floating on top of that cold water. And we'll bring a lot of baits, just drag them right above the thermocline or right below. Because those big fish, they don't like that 75, 80 degree water. They're just not going to be there unless they're feeding real heavy.
Yeah, they can't even survive it for more than a few minutes. They'll come up and hit bait, and they got to go back down or they'll die.
Yeah, the oxygen level's just not there in that warmer water. So just look for that cooler water, and I think you'll find those bigger fish. Got a few more folks joining us. Gary Gasman. Hey, yes, your message did go through. Gary, thank you so much for watching, and thanks for the comment. Ryan Sturgis, they are spread up and down from Trenton to the Gap. Oh, in the Delaware. Yeah, well, Ryan's a real big Delaware River guy. And yeah, we've heard it from Tim Keebler as well, that they're running pretty good up in the Delaware right now. And actually caught us a little bit. He says, I love you guys. I'm staying up, especially for this. I wish you could have joined us. And you'll have to be on next time. I know you got to get up for work in like 2 hours, so don't waste a lot of time.
He's probably still laying in bed.
He probably is, yeah. But yeah, and it's thank you so much for those tips. A lot of folks will be asking questions here, I'm sure. Watch the show replay tomorrow, and if please chime in with any comments and suggestions for these folks. Jay says, cool, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you, Jay. We really appreciate the comments and the questions. That's what we're here for. So yeah, what other tactics do you use? I know you do that for some walleye too, Josh, with the soft plastics. Tell us some of your tricks.
For soft plastics?
Yeah.
I really like the new, oh goodness, I'm going to butcher the name. I think they're the Easy Swim Kitex.
Okay.
The traditional ones have the more erratic tail, but the Easy Shiner has it's more of a traditional paddle tail. If you have a herring lake like Beltsville,
right,
it matches that much better. So I prefer the new Easy Shiner, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that name right, but I think it's that. Whoops.
That's okay. No, those Kitex, I think you turned me on to them. Geez, they work fantastic, don't they? I mean, it's just a really good go-to bait.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite soft plastic by far.
Yeah. Let's see, Ryan Sturgis, he says, I misunderstood. I was thinking Belvedere, looking forward to fishing Beltsville. Yeah, Ryan, you got to get up and fish that. I mean, you're a hell of a fisherman on the river. I think you'd really appreciate some of the fishing on Beltsville, but it is a tough lake. And I think that's probably an understatement, Josh.
Yep, definitely.
People come into Beltsville and think they're just going to fish it like a traditional lake, and everybody gets disappointed. It's such
got to pour
tough,
a lot of time into it.
Yeah. It really is, but it's worth it. When you finally figure the patterns out, it's a good lake to fish.
Absolutely.
So some of the things that I like to do with soft plastics is, I'm a trolling guy for one. So one of the things I like, and you're going to laugh, but when you think about it, a Mojo is nothing more than a glorified soft plastic. Yeah, it's got a pretty big head and a nice fluffy skirt, but it's got a giant paddle tail on the end of it. And these are the Tony Maja. These are their casting Mojos, which I just fell in love with this year. They're the 3-ounce size. I like trolling them in Beltsville for a couple of reasons. One, we talk about matching the hatch. There's not too many 14, 15-inch bunker running around Beltsville for stripers to hit. But, there's some trout and there's some other things there that the stripers will eat all the time. And I think this matches more what they're used to feeding on. Also, the L-Wise, Josh, we go out there, we cast net them, we'll use live ones. I like these search baits too. And I think you guys have seen these on the market. Just a big old paddle tail with a nice head. It's got a rattle in it. And geez, if you get in some stripers blitzing on some alloy or some bait on top, you throw one of these things in and holy cow.
I love the long profile of that.
Yeah, it's a great little bait. It's really sturdy. I mean, obviously in the lake, we don't have to worry about bluefish much, but, if they're feeding up top, you're going to get yourself into a pretty nice little striper there.
Oh, yeah.
Ant Glascoe says those Kitex, yeah, they're great, buddy. Good stuff. And Ryan Sturgis says Yakko.
He's probably using the 5-inch Kitex for perch while we're using the 3-inch Kitex.
Yeah. Well, geez, I mean, those perch are just monsters. I just love to land a couple of them, and I understand why they get him so excited.
Yeah, they really are like our largemouth. That's really what they are like.
Yeah, but I think they probably fight stronger.
I bet they do.
People like largemouth here, and they're great fish, but I think my opinion, they give up kind of quick. It's compared to like a small mouth or something else. Yeah. It's just going to fight till they just can't anymore.
There's a lot of stronger fighting fish than largemouth.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great fish. I mean, who doesn't want a 5, 6, 7 pound? Yeah, it's a great trophy fish, good for tournaments, etc. But you got to look at other things besides that. So how about you guys? How about anybody in the audience? What do you guys fish? What's your favorite soft plastic bait, and how do you fish it? Let's bring those comments in. How about drop shotting, Josh? We haven't done a whole lot of that, but that's something I'm planning on doing a lot this year, both with the soft plastics like Ant's doing, but also doing with some live bait, get those L-Wise and stuff. Oh, and I think that's an awesome setup for doing the walleyes.
Definitely. That would look
smallmouth, pretty much anything we can really tag up on that.
I think there's in the lakes we fish, there tends to be not a whole ton of weeds, but I think if you got on some of those limited areas where there is, and you use that drop shot to stay just above it, I think that could be really deadly.
Yeah, especially some of these clearer lakes where you get, weed growth down 15, even 20 feet in some cases, to be able to stay just above those weeds, maybe 12, 16, 18 inches up.
Yep.
Like Ant said, you are right in that kill zone. So you're going to bring it right across their face and score pretty big. Hey, Steve Kolnick joined us. Stevie, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for tuning in. Steve says, yeah, Stevie. He says, fluke, Berkeley Gulp, keep pounding that bottom. Yeah, well, you guys have been killing it with the fluke this year. I think you and Josh been out a few times. Why don't you touch on that, Josh? How you doing with the gulp and the fluke bite?
Yeah, that's oh goodness. I knew you'd get us talking about that if he was in here. Yeah, it's been good. We've been the last time in particular, I used absolutely no bait, just bucktails and gulp, and we were just moving those things so aggressively. The pound is just so aggressive, and we were getting who knows 3-to-1 bites compared to everyone else on the boat who were dragging bait. Yeah, it was really good.
And that's one thing Jim Hutchinson says, once the flounder bite really gets going, he says you just can't beat those teasers and that gulp. That's one of his favorite things to do too. It's just proven week in and week out. Guys always limit out on that stuff.
Yeah, it's remarkable stuff. I don't know what they're putting in it, but it should probably be illegal.
Or we be eating it, right? Let's see. Ryan Sturgis says, for the river, uses small swim bait Texas rig with medium-sized split shots. Yeah, I don't know why that wouldn't work either. I'm sure that would work, especially in current. That's a really good idea, Ryan. Using paddle tails and current on a Texas rig.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's a good idea. Who else has got some ideas out there? Let's pass them along, help each other out here. All right. Well, we'll wait for some more ideas. Let's see what else we got going on here. Josh, we probably should take a look at the trophy board for right now and see what we got going on, huh?
Sure thing. Let's take a look.
See what some of the other folks have been catching here. Let's take a look. So this week we have Jen Wong back again, but this time he's got some giant largemouth. Last week he was getting into some of those white perch. He's got that little secret. He uses the soft plastics too, but he puts a stuff called lip glue in there. It's a great scent attractant, and obviously it's paying off for Jen. Great work, Jen. We have Ted Johnson. Now this is up in Oregon, and he's out there getting halibut. Ted's the guy on the left there, and the largest they got was 77 pounds on that trip. I know they get much, much bigger, but gee, that's a nice little day out in the water, hauling up a couple of those guys off the bottom, huh?
That's awesome.
Scott Greene out getting some smallmouth. He got a 13-incher here, and he's getting up on topwater plugs. I know Scott doesn't give away his spots too much, but what do you think? Great work there, Scotty, huh?
Absolutely. I know that guy. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, of course he does. Let's see. Next, we got Justin Lerner. He's back out pounding the Passaic again, just getting those trophy pike week after week. I don't know, Josh. I think we got to go fish with him one of these days. What do you think?
Yeah, seriously.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind. We'll just go short drifting and find his pike spots. My good friend, now James, I'm not going to butcher your name. I think James Sanfilippo. Now I know you're going to yell at me for that, but out getting bluefin tuna. He's been out with a few of his friends, getting out there, and he's been scoring big every week. I see him pulling in tuna after tuna, so he's doing really good on the bluefin. That's something I need to get out and do one of these days soon. I know they're I know, me either. And it's from what I hear, it's just a great bite to get out on.
Might get hooked on something like that.
Yeah, that's deadly, right? Next up, we got Jordan Kirkland out getting some big old catfish. Boy, that's a nice one for a young feller, huh?
Yeah, that's a real nice one.
Get his hands full there. So great job, Jordan.
That's awesome.
Hayden Van Tries was out getting some pike as well. I think this was up on Wallenpaupack. I got to check with his pop on that, but wherever he's at, that's a really nice pike for a young fella to get his hands on. And finally, we got wrapping up. Maddie Fish sent me this limit she got out there in the bay. So beautiful limit of flounder there, Maddie. Great work. Lots of great fish this week. Everybody seems to be getting on them. What do you think, Josh?
Oh, that's great. Making me see all those different pictures from all those different places makes me want to be everywhere at once.
Yeah, we can't though, right?
Yeah.
So that's this week's trophy board. I do have an announcement to make. We do have, let me get my card here for this one. Last week we had Tim Keebler on with Fin Seeker Guide Service, and Phil, Tim had such a great time. He says, we got to do something for your viewers, George. So what we come up with is we're going to be doing a contest. And what you got to do is email me at PoconoGeorge@outlook.com and put in the subject contest. And what we are giving away is a one-day trip on the Delaware for the fish of your choice. So you and 2 friends can join him, and this is going to be a free trip. We're going to be doing the drawing on Sunday, July 25 on this show here. I'm sorry, July 26, and you have to enter before the close of day on the 25th. So just email me, subject contest. Be sure to put your name so I know who you are. And what would you like to fish with, Tim? Would you like the shad, the walleye, the stripers? So if you can get out with Tim for a day, what would you like to fish for? So check that out. Tim's such a great guy, and I thank him so much for giving away a free trip for one lucky guy and 2 friends. Can you imagine that, Josh? I'd take him up on that.
Seriously, what a deal. That's amazing.
Yeah. So be sure to check out Fin Seeker Guide Service. You can catch him on Facebook. And like we said, you can give him a call later as well. And we'll have his contact in for you later in the show. But get in on that, guys. Get those things into me, and we'll do a drawing on the 26th. Okay. Who do we got? Can you repeat my email is PoconoGeorge@outlook.com. And I'll show that again as we get closer to the end of the show. Okay, we got a couple more comments here. Ryan Sturgis says, for the river, he uses small swim. Okay, we talked about that one. Gary Gasman, he says, loves drop shotting. Can you drop out any plastic? I don't see why not. I think if the point is you're giving it action, just kind of like bouncing it off the bottom. What do you think, Josh? Pretty much any plastic.
Yeah, as long as it's, I would say generally like minnow imitating, some kind of fish imitation.
Or a worm kind of a something.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't put a craw on it, but I mean, there's probably circumstances where you could. But it's probably more of an active minnow type of situation.
Right. But yeah, I think that'd be more than productive no matter where you are. Mm-hmm. It's going to depend, too, on how aggressive the fish are. If they're real hungry, you can probably drop a bare hook and get something really fun into. Awesome. So that's going to lead us kind of into our trivia giveaway. So this is kind of a fun one this week. And this week we are giving away a Tony Maja buff. It's getting hot out there. That sun's strong. We got a Tony Maja buff for you here, guys. The winner will get one of these mailed out to them directly from Tony Maja. So our question this week is, bluefin tuna are prized as a food source. What is the highest known price paid for a bluefin tuna? Is it $95,000, $156,500, or $247,000? What do you think that the highest price paid for a tuna is?
That buff, I got my hands on one of those that you're giving away, and I've been using mine a ton. It is so comfortable.
Oh, these Tony Maja ones are great. Ryan Sturgis says 156. No, Samantha, no, 156. Tim Kleber says, great show, guys. Thank you, Tim. It's all because of you. We don't have a winner yet. Somebody give me a number. Want to give away this buff. Come on, there's only 2 answers left. We got 156 is not the correct answer.
50-50 chance now.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, I guess nobody wants this. Maybe I'll just keep it, Ryan Sturgis says 247. Yeah, Ryan, you got it, buddy. Can you believe that? $247,000. It was an
$250,000
for an Atlantic bluefin tuna. It was caught off the eastern USA, and it was actually sold in 2008 in Asia. Geez, $250,000 for a fish. Why can't I catch that one?
Yeah, seriously.
So yeah, that guys. That's kind of going to bring things to a close. I hope you guys all had a really good time. Ant, thank you very much. I know we spent a lot of time this weekend going back and forth trying to get this recorded. Thank you so much for your input, and we really want to have you back soon. Josh, thank you for joining us from Texas.
Thank you, George. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, we'll have you back soon. Also want to thank, again, Tim Keebler at FinSeeker Guide Service. Be sure you get on that contest we have going on, but book your trip now. There's a lot of good fishing coming up this summer. 215-262-4811. And also special thanks to Tony Maja. Be sure you get on his products at TonyMajaProducts.com and the Fisherman magazine. Be sure you check them guys out. Thefisherman.com there as well. Again, my email address, PoconoGeorge@Outlook.com. Be sure you get in on this contest. We can't wait to get you on there. Josh, what do you think? We wrap this one up?
Sounds good to me, George.
All right, guys, we're going to catch you all next week. I hope you all have a great Father's Day. Get out and fish, and don't forget to send me those pics. Josh, we'll talk to you soon as well, buddy.
Sounds good. See you guys.
See you guys. Bye-bye.